What's up, people of the internet? I'm back again with another video here. So today we are going to be looking at this guy here. This is a Mac G4 MDD, which stands for mirrored drive doors. I believe this is one of the last Mac G4 models before the G5 came out. I think these actually had a pretty short run, actually. But I had been kind of getting an itch to have one of these because I have a cube back there, but it is kind of thermally and expansion limited, and I ended up selling a bunch of, basically all of my PowerPC Macs years ago. I used to have one of these maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but my good friend Jack actually had one, and he was willing to part with it, so I bought it from him. So here it is. As you can see, it is in pretty darn good shape. A lot of these are kind of clapped out by now, being that they're, almost 20 years old at this point. But as you can see, going down the front here, the mirrored drive doors are in very good shape. Not a ton of scratching or, anything like that in it. The handles are all here. They're not cracked or anything like that. Going around the side, like I said, the case is in pretty good shape. There's one little mark right here, but that's, not a huge deal. So not too bad. And then if we turn it around here, we can go ahead and take a look at the back. So here's the back of the machine. He did add a USB card to it, which is kind of nice. USB 2.0, I'm assuming. And then it does have a NVIDIA GeForce 4 MX GPU in it with ADC. And he also included the cinema display with it, so that was cool. So there you have it. These things are known for, power supplies bursting into flames, or not really, but the capacitors go bad, kind of like all mid-2000s computers. But this one is still working. It is an ACBell power supply. I'm kind of thinking about just getting it recapped as kind of a preemptive measure. They do have a way for you to adapt an ATX power supply into one of these, but I really don't want to lose ADC because I think that's pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes down the line. But going down to the bottom of the machine here, you can see we have 2 USB-A ports and 2 FireWire ports. I'm assuming these are probably 400, just by the shape of the port. As a matter of fact, they absolutely are. I don't know why I'm saying hypothetically or whatever, but got an Ethernet port here. This is probably gigabit by this point, I'm guessing. We have a 56K modem, and then we have a line-in and a headphone jack here. That I'm not exactly sure what it's for. Maybe some kind of like wireless card or something like that. And then if we take a look at the original sticker here, we can see that it was originally an 867 dual processor model with 256 megabytes of memory. That is DDR, of course, a 60 gig hard drive, and then the same GeForce 4 MX that's in it. So it's been upgraded a little bit, which we'll take a look at very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and put the machine back here, and then we can open it up. Make sure this cable's not too stretched, but so, I mean, obviously a nice hallmark of all of these Mac G4 machines is that they're pretty easy to work on. The case just kind of splits open, and it gives you unbridled access to everything. Besides that machine over there, that is kind of a lost art in the Apple world these days. They really don't want you tinkering with their machines too much, but oh well, it is what it is. So we can take a little tour here. Like I mentioned, ACBell power supply. That thing is stupid loud, which you guys will see in a second. We have an optical drive up here. I believe it's a DVD drive. And, of course, going down here, we have the logic board. So my friend Jack actually upgraded the CPUs, so it now has a dual 1.25 gigahertz card on it, but they're only running at 1 gigahertz because the bus speed of this machine is the slower 133 megahertz. All you have to really do, though, to increase the bus speed is just remove the logic board and then basically move a resistor or desolder it, one of the two, and then you can run it at 166. So I'll probably look at doing that at some point, but for now it's fine. And it also does, I believe it has 1.5 gigs of RAM, so these are 3 512 sticks there. And then of course, like I mentioned, that GeForce 4 graphics card there. As for hard drives, it does have quite a few, so I got it with these 2 hard drives. These are 2 identical Seagate 80 gig hard drives there. And then I also added an SSD. So down there is a IDE to SATA adapter. And then I have just a cheap Kingston SATA SSD in there. So these ports here, I believe these are actually PCI X. I could be wrong, but I mean, they're obviously PCI slots. And I believe that's what these are. But somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and pop this thing back together here, and then we will go ahead and turn it on and take a look. Alright, let's go ahead and turn it on. Now you may notice it is extremely loud. That's those power supply exhaust fans. But, you know, that's just kind of the way it's going to have to be. So let's go ahead and punch into the monitor a little bit closer here. I believe this is a 17-inch studio display. Still works pretty well. And we will wait for it to boot here. Now it's got an SSD, so it shouldn't take too terribly long. There you go. It is running a whole host of operating systems. So we've got, I believe, 4 operating systems on here. I installed a Leopard on this thing because I don't have a Leopard machine anyway, so I figured it was, you know, appropriate, and it's fast enough to run it. So that's what we're booted into now. We're in Leopard 10.5.6, I believe, but it also has a 10.3.9, which I believe is Panther, and then we have 10.2 down here, and then also we have OS 9 on here. So pretty versatile. Let's go ahead and go into About This Mac. We'll take a look at that and zoom in here. So as you can see, it says dual 1 gigahertz, like I said, because of the bus speed. If I do that resistor mod, then it will increase to a 1.25 gigahertz, but, you know, 1 gigahertz isn't bad, so I'm not super, you know, itching to do that right away. And then, like I mentioned before, we have 1.5 gigs of RAM. If we go into the system profiler here, let me back this up just a hair. And there you go, like I mentioned, 133 megahertz bus speed there. If we go into ATA, you can see we have those 3 hard drives, so the SSD here, and then the 2 C gates, which are identical. And then obviously the optical drive there. And then going to the graphics card, like I said, the GeForce 4 MX has 64 megabytes of memory. Probably looking at upgrading that eventually. I think I can get like a GeForce 6200 or something that's quite a bit better, that also still has ADC. So that'll be cool. And then if we go over here, you can see we have the USB card there. So there you have it. It runs pretty well, actually. I mean, Leopard was kind of known as like the Windows Vista of Mac OS. It, you know, is pretty heavy. Didn't run real well, but it seems to run okay on this one. Of course, it's a clean install, so you know it's not perfect, but as you can see here, but it's not too bad. There's really no programs on here, unfortunately, and then there are a couple of like apps and things on these other installs, but there's personal information on there, so I really don't want to show that stuff, unfortunately. But that's pretty much it. That's really all I can say. I didn't want to make this video stupid long or anything. I just wanted to show you guys this thing. It's a Power Mac G4 MDD, a new addition to my collection. But there you have it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.